Excuse me. Welcome everybody to our August 2024 LinkSV WITI event. I can't believe it's August, Don and Bob. I don't know about the two of you. Pretty crazy, right?
Yep. Flying by, David.
And I always like this month since we've been doing this now for a few years because I know, July's the summer. I know a lot of people are away. Deals can be slow, but we are moving at the speed of AI. So, Don, I'm going to kick it over to you, and let's hear let's hear all the good news.
Huh. Apparently there is none.
Okay. So, yes, welcome all. It definitely is the summer. Lots of people away on vacations and traveling. But we've got July to recap. Even though I said it was summer, it really hasn't slowed down that much. This last month we did there's 4.3 billion to 150 companies. So up a little on dollars, up a little on companies. And if you look at the trend line there, we're just about back to what is more of a normal funding. This is more of what we saw in the 2019, the 2020 times. We're a little bit above what was done last year and a little bit more above what was done the year before. 2021, we're half, because 2021 was an anomaly, an outlier. Zero interest rates drove it, and we're now back to normal. So at any rate, we're at 38 billion for the year, and we've got what now? We're oh goodness, 5 months to go. Nothing spectacularly different to point out about the different sectors that weighed in. Very, very diversified. A couple of trends we'll talk about. We saw a little bit more in ag tech than usual, and of course AI. And we'll talk about where the AI dollars went in particular. Out of that 4.3 billion, 2.1 of it went into mega deals. And as you can see, they're actually pretty evenly spread out. Just a couple of note, the World Labs in the upper left there is AI. It's the only AI mega deal. It went to a woman. We'll mention her later, but the bulk of AI deals in this last month were more normal dollar values. The Monarch tractor is an interesting one. They went through a really tough time in the last year and a half, but came back with this 133 million Series C. And we'll look at them as a company of interest a little bit later. And past that, NGM Biopharm down in the lower right, that is AI driven drug discovery. And not surprisingly, we're seeing AI filtered in and threaded in through everything. Probably 98% of the companies we look at have AI mentioned tertially or genuinely integrating it into what they are doing. And obviously that's past the companies that are pure AI from the start.
And I would assume for the two of you, I mean, if a company's being pitched to you, Don or Bob, if they're not talking about leveraging AI, can I assume that's a big red flag, or people like overusing it? We do have WITI.ai.
Yeah, there's two sides to that. Yes, if you're if you're going out for money, you really need to have AI in what you're doing. I think Bob, you can attest to that, right?
Absolutely.
On the other side of it, there's continuing words from investors that they're becoming, jaded isn't quite the right word, but much more cautious about So what is it that you're doing with AI? Is it just a wrapper that
Right.
somebody else can come along and duplicate? Or is it genuinely something that is protectable IP that has a moat that you're going to have a distinct and continuing advantage
Yeah.
in? One other I just wanted to point out here, Astranis. That 200 million Series D, very interesting. This company does very small, cost-efficient satellites, and their focus is on providing internet accessibility to places in the world that can't be reached by any other broadband provider. And they've been doing this for quite a while. This is their Series D. This actually isn't very readable. I took a look at who are our top investors in all of the 150 deals that we did. Wycom invested in 17 of those companies, General Catalyst, 7 of them, Alumni Ventures, 6, Founders Fund, 6, Sequoia Capital, 6. So just as a point, even though we only cover companies in the Valley, say Sacramento to Santa Cruz, we get investors here from all over the country, all over the world. This list of investors, frequent investors, is very close to what you'll see PitchBook putting out there as US top investors. Alumni Ventures, as an example, is one of the top 2. And Wycom has a presence because of the size of their cohorts. Even though they've just about cut them in half, they're still fielding 240, 250 companies per cohort, 2 cohorts a year. So they're very active. So we're starting a new thread here, a new year, middle of the year, since we're going from July to June. Out of that 4.3 billion, 483 million went to women. And just to emphasize, the tracking we do is of companies with women who are CEOs. They may call themselves the founder, but they are the person that is leading the company, because that is really the person that makes the difference with the investor. So our numbers are going to look different from those you may see from Crunchbase or PitchBook, because they're typically looking at any team that has a founder as a woman as their prime tracking cohort. We focus on the CEOs. That's the critical person. So anyways, 11.2% to start 2024 off with. And look at some of those companies now. A very interesting mix. I mentioned World Labs. Fei Li, if you've read much on artificial intelligence, you've probably seen her name mentioned. She's out of Stanford, one of the leading researchers in AI, and she's now taken a leave and is founder of World Labs and taking a different path to come up with the advanced reasoning, which she
Wow.
doesn't
Good
align
start.
particularly with AGI. It's a little bit different. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I mean, she's been very active just speaking at
Yeah.
every top AI conference over the last year, it seems like. So that's
Her name
amazing.
is everywhere. You're right.
Yeah, Fei Li. Yep. She was at the Bloomberg conference I went to a few months ago. Oh, so that's interesting. That's a company certainly to keep an eye on, huh?
Yeah, and they are running very, very quiet. That funding was not publicized anywhere. It was mentioned, but no listing, no filings. So I would expect that when they come up with something, it's going to get a lot of press. Also in AI, and it's interesting because there were 17 women led companies. I chose the 7 most interesting. And out of those, 3 of them are AI focused. And I don't know how to pronounce her name. I'll take a try. Lin Kiao, Fireworks AI. Wherever there is a need, an entrepreneur steps in. And here she's started a company, and they're well underway, offering generative AI as a service. So rather than hiring in an entire group of developers to build your own Gen AI and implementation in your vertical, well, here's a platform you can adopt as a service and move forward a lot faster. Obviously, not having to worry about the same level of manpower, not having to worry about the same level of cost, or even sourcing compute, which is a whole nother subject we'll talk about. And on the other side, Navrina Singh, this is another thread we've seen in AI fundings, and that's organizations that are focused on how do you put guardrails on AI is probably the best way of saying it. How do you make it safer for enterprise to adopt, to use, to implement more widely? Because AI implementation by enterprise is still slow. And out of the other ones, the inner plant just caught my eye. It's a interesting technology. Not sure how they do it, but essentially they have created the ability to give crops they plant optical signals that can be seen, planes flying overhead, observers on the sides of fields, and those signals will indicate what that particular crop is short of. Is it nitrogen? Is it water? Is it something else? The whole point of this being to produce crops, better productivity per acre. Let's see, Vanta, that's security, and it's notable in that Christina, she has for the third round, she's brought in 150 million Series C. When we talk about the amount of money that goes to women overall in the venture community, the women that are bringing in later stage rounds, which would be B, C, D, E, have a huge impact on that. And that's why we look to foster and bring more women in as CEOs to advance that. The more women we have as CEOs, the more women we'll have eventually getting funding and increasing the amount overall going in that direction. So Vanta is a trust management security, and they've they've now brought in just over 300 million in funding. Two other notable ones, both medical device. Novocuff, this is Amelia Degenkolb coming out of Stanford, the accelerator there, med device accelerator. Notable because there are very little work done in preterm births. And to the extent that if you are at risk, you're basically told, go to bed, stay in bed for the next 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is. So Novocuff is a new development in that area. And Skip, this is fascinating stuff. So Skip and Catherine Zeeland come out of Moonshot with Google. And what they have taken is the exoskeleton technology, an exoskeleton being external, how do I say it? External something that allows someone who cannot otherwise walk or move. I've taken that and adapted it into clothing. This is very early. This is she's still at seed, but they have how do I say, demonstration pants that allow someone with Parkinson's who could not otherwise walk to be able to walk comfortably. So they're calling this MoveWear, and something to watch. Okay, now let's get that out of there. So AI companies, we funded 14 AI companies in this last month. A number of them we've talked about before. I didn't include them here, but there were two threads that stood out in the fundings. The first one is around the move to multiple models. You see, let's see, Not Diamond over on the right there, allowing you to route different applications between different models. They're the second or third doing something along that line. AI Explain does something similar, but they're down a little bit lower on the application level. The other thread is right around compute and power, because it is becoming, well, it's already become evident to everyone that the more we use AI, the more compute we require, the more power it takes. So, there's a need, there's an opening, and a variety of different solutions are being put out there. On the far left, etc. This is another one of the semiconductor solutions. This particular one is IP for Edge AI. When you get the computer going, when you get the overall architecture accelerated to support AI, then you need to take every single piece of it internally and speed it up too. And we're seeing funding for everything along there, for memory, for the storage components, for Edge AI here, AI and inference. The middle one there, SF Compute, is a company taking advantage of the fact that many, I'm going to say many, are short on compute, to the extent that they're going to allow you to trade excess compute power to buy excess compute power and to just buy a portion. So you could go up and potentially reserve 100 GPUs for 5 hours on such and such a time frame. They would provide it. They're early on. They're not the first doing this. We've seen 8 or 9 other companies doing some iteration on that. And again, Hyperbolic, same thing. This is cloud compute. Don't do it in-house, do it in the cloud. Oh, Prompt Foo I threw in there because I like their name. LLM risks, again, another how do we put guardrails on AI? In this case, how do we put them on, and how do we protect against risk before we ship, not after? Okay. And just a few other companies that caught our eye during the month. I mentioned that it was a interesting month for ag tech. We had Monarch, which I've already mentioned, also Prelumi, which is another take on how do you improve your crop yields. Well, they're doing it by taking photosynthesis and modifying a number of the molecules so that the plant is more productive with photosynthesis, eventually yielding more crop, more food at the end. And in almost all of these companies, there is a thread, at least in their mission statements, of sustainability, feed more people, improve the world. Nice to see. Unspun on the other side there, it's 3D weaving technology. They're to their Series B, so they're starting to scale now. And this is also clean tech, but this allows for yarn of any kind, used, reused, to be immediately, literally in minutes, produced into clothing. Let's see. Digestiva, for those of you that focus on nutritional value of what you're eating, they're trying to, this is using AI, develop even more productive enzymes, more productive, that's not the right word, even more efficient enzymes so that more nutritional value can be taken out of what you eat. Let's see. And David, please interrupt me if there are questions. I'm not keeping an eye on chat.
I don't see any yet, but if somebody does have a
Okay.
question, they can raise their hand or put it in the chat. We'll have some time right after too.
Yep. Okay, just a couple others. We saw some more Web3 stuff this month. 4 different Web3 fundings. This particular one, Jugamai.ai, it's focused on access to generative AI, but applied to fintech, crypto, of course, using blockchain. The one on here that is not AI in any way, shape, or form, it's interesting. I told you we didn't see many of these, is New Avenue. So here's a group that their focus is on taking single family homes, converting them into all electric, more sustainable, better for the environment. But in addition to that, turning them into multi-family complexes. More housing, more affordable housing, better for all.
What time is it now?
So that was an interesting mix I wanted to share with you. All of this detail comes out of the research Bob and I do on Pulse of the Valley, our weekday newsletter, fundings, M&A, exits, and people moving from one company to another or between VCs and companies. But we're about the only, we are the only periodical in the Valley now that focuses on people and keeping you up to date with where the C-level execs, where the key people are and are moving to. Let's see. Just a couple of reminders. For those of you that are entrepreneurs, we now have an entrepreneur membership that's available for $6.99 a month. It's the equivalent of our $50 membership. And we're offering it because we want to help entrepreneurs, particularly at the early stages, your pre-seed, your seed, be able to build your teams, look for board partners, and obviously investors. And we have a program now for the investor analysis report just for entrepreneurs for just $30 a month. So you can ping us for more information on that. We continue to work with and look for more accelerators. Accelerator programs can get all of our information for their people while they're active in the programs for free.
I have a question about the accelerator program.
I'm sorry, say again?
I have a hi, Dawn. It was great seeing you last week. This is Niharika.
Oh,
Yes. I have a question about accelerator program.
okay.
How to apply and who is eligible?
The accelerators themselves. So for instance, the first accelerator company we signed up was Santa Clara University's Bronco Ventures Accelerator, BVA. And for the course of their 3-month program, each of their participants gets a full membership in LinkSV, gets to use all of our resources, and hopefully that assists them in successfully completing the program, getting their first funding, and going on from there.
Perfect. And there is entrepreneurship membership. Is there a membership for investors also? Those who want to be a part of LinkSV ecosystem?
That would be our normal membership. So
Okay,
let's talk about that a
sure,
little bit more, okay?
sure.
Okay, last thing I wanted to point out, and again, it gets back to the fundraising. We have both the investor analysis report. We have the do-it-yourself, which is what I'm talking about there. On the other side, we do have a fundraising assist to help startups identify investors. And that's something, if you have interest in, you can go to our website and also contact us for more detail. Let's see, our next will be Friday, September 6th. And look forward to seeing you then. David, back to you.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, everybody.